Good evening. Welcome to the third cooking class of Tutti Tavola in Calabria. This week, the menu will bring us back to this beautiful southern Italian region where the Mediterranean's diet, philosophy, and related studies by British biologist and physiologist Ansel Keys arrived in the town of Nicotera in 1957. His findings in this quaint town in Calabria confirmed how a Mediterranean diet, just like the one typical of Greece and southern Italy, rich in cereal, legumes, vegetables, olive oil, and with less saturated fats and animal products, was a healthier option, which contributed to the prevention of degenerative illnesses, cardiovascular problems, diabetes, and cancer. Tonight's stuffed eggplants and stroncatura, a dish made with rye flour pasta, are perfect examples of Mediterranean diet, which combined with local traditions, regional history, and culture, bring to the table a lot more than just regular recipes. As far as dessert, well, we need to indulge at some point, don't we? Our chefs tonight will tell us much more about Calabria's culinary traditions. Chef Luciano Schipano and food writer Jenny Arena will create a nice Calabrese dinner for us and will talk to us a bit more about typical Calabrese products such as nduja and crotonese cheese. A special thank you goes to Fortino's, which provided the products used in tonight's recipes, which are available at selected Fortino's locations. Tonight, Chef Luciano Schipano is connected from his newly opened culinarium studio and event space, the perfect space for a private or corporate event, also available for chefs needing to rent a commercial kitchen. Chef Luciano was born in Canada and raised in Italy, and his passion for cooking began at an early age. He moved back to Toronto in 2011, where he started working as a personal chef and food consultant. Chef Luciano also appeared on different TV cooking shows here in Ontario and is part of several federations in the food industry. Chef Luciano also organizes culinary trips to his home region of Calabria. Together with Chef Luciano, we also welcome tonight back food writer Jenny Arena. Jenny is the daughter of Southern Italian immigrants from Calabria who instilled the appreciation of food in her at a very young age, more specifically that of the humble Calabrian kitchen. Jenny is also the writer behind the Fables and Focaccia blog, and she has participated in numerous ICCO Canada events. Before we ask Luciano and Jenny to start, I would like to remind you of some of our upcoming ICCO Canada events. Keep following our Tutti a Tavola cooking classes on Tuesdays. Next Tuesday, it will be about prosciutto di Parma. And join us for the ICCO Canada Pentola d'Oro Under the Stars on November 25, a special event to celebrate the Italian and Canadian food and wine industry. Also, join our member network and keep following us on our social media channels to find out more about all of our activities and events. But now it's time for Luciano and Jenny to start. Are you ready to start? Welcome to tonight's cooking show.
Welcome everyone. Welcome at Culinarium. Thank you, Tiziana. Thank you, all the ICCO technicians. They are at the back working for us. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, welcome everybody. Nice to see you all. Thank you for joining us. We have a very involved menu this evening, so we're actually going to just dive right in, correct?
Yes. So where we're starting is actually we start from making the pasta, so stroncatura. As Tiziana said, this is a very, very old dish. It's actually a forgotten recipe that I just went back in the stories, found it, how stroncatura was made. Have you read anything about stroncatura, Jenny?
Yeah, okay, so I actually only recently learned about it, that it's a very ancient pasta, and it's very typical of the no waste philosophy that we as Calabres seem to adhere to. So the stroncatura is basically made from what was left over in the mill from milling the flour, what the workers would sweep up at the end of the night and take home to make pasta. And it was actually, in fact, considered illegal at one point because it was an unhygienic practice. So they would take this flour that was like the remnants, rye, semola, whole
and
wheat.
I probably interrupt you with that because the Calabrese, they worked very hard back in the days for their landlord. They had been enslaved for a very long time. And when they were working at the miller, they were not allowed to bring any white flour at home. So the only way to raise their family and their kids was to get flour was coming out. So from the leftover of the process, a lot of food that we're going to make tonight, but this you find in the recipe, and you can even try to make this at home. Very, very simple process to do. You need a pasta machine, and you're going to make it. How are we going to toast the sauce? So the sauce for this pasta guisardi.
Simple and delicious.
Very simple. Sardines. Sardines were one of my memories, right? When I was a kid going to the grocery store, a little bottega in my village. So they used to have the sardines layered on the salt in this container. So when you used to go and then get how many sardines you want to flavor the food. That was not to eat, it was to flavor your recipes. That's what we do today. But we don't have sardines, we have anchovies because they're very more common and easy to find, right?
So also what I learned about this particular flavoring for this pasta was because it was those remnants, it was a little bit sour.
Yes.
So the sauce had to be flavorful with something like sardines to sort of take away that sour.
And this is almost una pasta in bianco because you're going to see the ingredients they have of this pasta. We have capers and olives. We have anchovies. We have a breadcrumb with formaggio dei poveri. So this is a cheese for the poor. Parsley, chili flakes, garlic, and just a little bit of tomato sauce, just to color a little bit our pasta. So you're going to have with the pasta machine a little bit of fun. If you have your kids at home, your bubble, you can play with your bubble.
That's right.
Exactly. Well, my nonna used to make pasta every Sundays. So that was the activities for all of us after the Mass. When we go to the Mass, we used to stop our place for lunch. I'm just talking about lunch in Calabrese tradition. So I heard the Heritage Calabria this year. They're doing on November 29 a beautiful lunch takeout. This Heritage Calabria is an association that Jamie and we launched the last years actually, and this year we are the second edition.
It's our second year, that's right.
And if you check it out, our website heritagecalabria.to, you can find more information how to get a Calabrese lunch for 2 or for 8 to go. So Jenny, you are making the other side tortilli.
Of course, because I'm always about the sweet, my sweet tooth.
Brava.
So we're working on a very traditional holiday dessert today. However, Luciano, I understand you used to enjoy it as a treat year round.
Oh,
right?
Well, this is actually the tortilli are having different name. And you know that when you go in Calabria, different towns they have a different names for recipes. So I have to say my grandfather used to call this murinieri. There was another name for that. But the murinieri was a treat that was not toasted in honey or fig syrup. And then if you want to be a little bit more Canadian, you can even use maple syrup.
Okay, so what we're starting with, before we even get to the cookies, I am melting some lard in a pan to fry. So we're gonna just let this dissolve slowly as we do the rest. Now, because this dough required about an hour to rest, we prepped it ahead of time. So ICCO has generously posted the recipes for you this evening. So it's a dough that consists of flour, sugar, baking powder, egg, and what gives it this beautiful color is either some Marsala or some red vermouth. So you combine everything either by hand or you put it in a stand mixer and just let it go, and then you're going to form it into a ball and just let it rest as you
Only
would with the
simple
pasta dough.
ingredients. Simple and natural ingredients, no artificial color. And as Tiziana was saying, Calabria is a place where the Mediterranean diet was founded, tested in the town of Nicotera, and that has the recipe for the good and long living. So, my grandmother, she's 91.
God bless her. I know. My nonna is going to be turning 90 next year as well.
See?
So
thank Lord.
it must have a lot to do with the way they eat and all these wonderful foods, right?
So the extra virgin olive oil, the seasonality of the ingredients, the natural, ingredients are very natural. They're not processed.
Exactly.
Everything is made fresh. As I see, we're making pasta tonight, and that's where the Calabrese most of the time is doing their families. So, and probably coronavirus actually helped us to discover a little bit about this recipe. And I'm hoping that every one of you guys who are watching us tonight are safe and keep yourselves safe.
Okay, so the next step is you take our dough and we're shaping it into like a bit of a log. And if this process looks familiar, it is quite similar to making gnocchi.
Yes.
So this is a bit of a sweet gnocchi, if you will, right? That's fried. So we make our shapes, big bite-sized piece here. And then traditionally, it would be made or shaped with this little wicker basket that is known as ucrivo.
Ucrivo. Well, I have a lot of memories with this thing.
So I'm sure many of us who grew up with our nonnas around are familiar with this type of basket. So basically, you would just roll your dough over the weave there to get your ridges. If you don't have a crivo handy, you can always use a traditional gnocchi board. Correct. So we're just going to, roll it out as you would, your classic gnocchi. And if you don't have a gnocchi board, of course, you can use a fork. You can roll it off of the back of a fork. Or you can even use a wire mesh strainer. Really, it's about being creative. There you go. So you just want to get the ridges in the dough so that after they're fried, when they get their bath in honey, they soak up all that beautiful honey among those ridges. So I'm going to continue here as Luciano is working on his pasta.
Do the tagliatelle, the stroncatura. So the name of stroncatura, and then I have to say there is nothing to go with the shape of the pasta. Usually the name of the pasta is the name, the shape. There is nothing about it. Stroncatura means cut. It's something that has been kind of stilled because, stroncatura was taken from the landlord, the miller. So that's the name. So the leftover, if you really want to use a translation for stroncatura, is made with leftover. So it means that with the extra leftover, the flour that are getting in the miller with that. So I'm making my sfoglia, and then you see here, you have your choice. So if you don't have a pasta machine, guys, you have to use a roller pin. And then what you can do is, I show you first one, and then we're gonna cut it. There we go. Okay. All right, ecco fatto. So this is our stroncatura.
Beautiful.
Put some flour. I suggest everybody, if you have some durum semolina, I rather have the durum semolina because dries out more the moist for the food. Okay, so you keep going. If you don't have the machine, I'm going to show you how to cut the pasta. Okay.
Very good. So Luciano, you mentioned that it's an ancient pasta.
Yes.
But it's grown in popularity again. In fact, in some Calabrese Michelin star restaurants, you will find the stroncatura pasta.
So this is actually one of the things that, as a chef during the years, you learn a lot, you gain experience, and then you understand as a chef, what can I invent? I cannot invent anything anymore. The only way that I can actually get more and better at my job is to go back into history, go do research, and give back life to forgotten recipes. And that's why the reason why I also organize these culinary tours to Calabria, because I want to bring people directly on the land where I grew up and show them the beauty of their food, the wine, the olive oil, the beaches, the mountains, the history, the culture, Romans, Greeks. So think about how many population actually have been in Calabria over the millennia.
Mm-hmm. Now, so, it's interesting that you mentioned the Greek influence.
Yes.
Because the name of the tortilli, because Corrado asked me 2 weeks ago and I did my research, so I had to make sure I knew what it meant.
Good job. You did.
Tortilli is actually a Greek word for small, so it means small. And tortilli were traditionally, like we associate them with Christmas, however, they go back millennia, and they were actually part of the celebratory sort of treats for the Saturnalia winter festivals.
Right.
And the shape, in fact, is ridged because it's made to emulate the rays of sunshine.
Wow.
So there you go. So
fascinating.
It's really, really interesting. I love going back and delving into the origins and the history of our food. It's pretty amazing.
So our pasta is ready, and see, I just put it a little bit more open because you don't want this pasta to make moist and stick one another. So you open it up, and I'm just gonna move this pasta over there that we are getting ready for the sauce. So let's clean the station.
Okay, so I'm just doing a quick check to see what we have in terms of questions.
Yep.
So one of the questions that came up is, can you substitute the vermouth or the Marsala with something non-alcoholic?
Well, we want to keep the recipe very close to the traditional one. I wouldn't say it's a mistake to not follow it, if you don't really have vermouth and Marsala, you probably you need to use something like a very dry wine that can give some body to the mixture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the pasta is ready. The next, what we're gonna do is this a pasta con le sarde. So it's a delicious dish, very simple, very light. And I introduce you the ingredients. I have 5 anchovies, capers, olives, pan grattato. This is breadcrumb, but it was the cheese of the cucina povera. So not everybody could afford to have a pecorino cheese. So the only thing to make the kids happy and everybody else happy, come on, right? Using the breadcrumb instead of cheese. So this is actually, Jenny, nowadays with the veganism and all this, attention to food, which I really like it. People are very attentive to food, and I love this, how people really care for themselves. They can substitute, if they're vegan or they don't want to have a cheese, substitute with some breadcrumb. At the end, it will taste really good. You have to try. Parsley, chili flakes, and garlic. The entree would be una bella melanzanatina. It's a stuffed eggplant, exactly. And I love this. It's something that it's very, very, very Calabrese. So let me introduce you the eggplant. This is a Calabrese eggplant. It's black and no purple. Because purple is from
Sicily.
More from Sicily.
That's right.
Right? So Sicilian love the purple eggplant. Instead, in Calabria, we have the black eggplant, which until the medieval time, Calabrese were not eating the melanzana.
That's right, because the Arabs brought it to us.
Yes. So it was a black fruit because melanzana is a fruit. It's not a vegetable.
Yes, a lot. Yeah, many people don't know that. That's right. It's a fruit.
And it's great to give this explanation between a fruit and a vegetable. Okay. So whatever produce or vegetable has seeds is a fruit. If it doesn't have a seed, is a vegetable. That is the right explanation. That's why this is a fruit. Okay. And when they see this black thing, say, I don't want to eat that. That is actually a story. That the name of the melanzana comes from the Latin words, the malum
insanum.
The malum insanum.
Which meant crazy.
Yes.
To be crazy.
So don't eat that because you get crazy. But see, they get so crazy, they fall in love with melanzana, and Calabrese, they cook a storm with the melanzana. Everything from the pickled eggplant, grilled eggplant under oil, frittelle, croquettes. I think next week we're going to do the croquettes with the eggplant.
Yes.
The next class. Stuffed eggplant. So this is a perfect example of cucina povera. The stuffed eggplant, there is no meat. So what is a stale bread. So your old bread, keeping your dispenser because we always come back for something. We have some pecorino crotonese cheese. And then I mix here 1 egg, garlic, and parsley. Please follow the recipe. And just by the way, you are entitled to have 15% off every time you're gonna buy some products from Culinarium at this beautiful studio that I open up here in the, I can say Midtown, because in Weston and Eglinton, we are in Midtown in Toronto. So please use your coupon for our events and cooking classes, supper clubs.
Yes.
We also are developing few packages for Christmas.
For the holidays,
with Jenny,
yes, exactly.
With the holidays, and we will really love to have you here. Our cooking classes, actually, Jenny, they are limited only to 8 people. So we want to keep very, very safe. Everyone who comes here has to feel safe. We keep the precautions. We have a mask and sanitizer. We measure the temperatures, and we keep the self distances with all the stations they are coming here. So you're good to come to join me and all chefs and Jenny that we collaborate here at Culinarium. So made the eggplant. We cut in half the eggplant, and then we're gonna excavate it. We're gonna dig it out.
Scoop
and we
out
need,
the filling,
yes, exactly.
The
then we need the salted water. With the salted water, we need to boil for 2-3 minutes. So what happens is the salted water is taking out the bitterness of the eggplant. So this is now is actually kind of pre-cooked, but all the bitterness of the eggplant is out. I let it cool down. That's why I had to prepare it in advance. And then I mix the stale bread that I soak in water for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I mix up with the garlic, parsley, again, pecorino crotonese that's available at all the Fortino stores, or maybe ask your local Fortino to see if they have. And I create the stuffing for our eggplant. As you see, is nice and dry. Now, this is without the egg, without the cheese, is a vegan product.
That's right.
So that's the Mediterranean diet is we have. I don't want to say we are vegetarian, but think about San Francesco di Paola, San Francis of Paola. He was a vegan.
He was, yeah.
Right, and he has a book that is old 1,400 years. So when he was alive, he was vegan. There you go. See.
So Luciano, just jumping back to the eggplant for a second, although it didn't come to Calabria until the Arabs brought it, we have, yes, as you mentioned, definitely adopted it. And the climate and the soil in Calabria is actually ideal for growing.
Oh yeah, exactly. And that's why Greek, the Greeks arrived in Calabria to colonize Calabria, and then they start planting the vineyards, the olive trees, and they call Calabria La Magna Grecia, so the greater Greek, because they found that actually this soil was more rich, exactly, and the generous of the crops. Right? He said, "Oh my God! So we have to move here from Greek. Now we move everybody to Calabria." But I invite everybody, to visit Calabria once in your life. You're gonna fall in love of everything: the hospitality of people, the beauty of the beaches, the food, everything is stunning up here. Okay, so my eggplant are stuffed. So what I'm going to do with this eggplant is this. So I'm putting this here. Okay, I'm going to do a very simple sauce. Now you have actually 2 choices. I have just to give some option to my viewers tonight. So the eggplant can be an antipasto, an appetizer, a starter, or it can be also an entree.
An entree, exactly.
So if you get this eggplant that I just stuffed and you fry both sides and you let it cool, you can serve this as an appetizer. So it is a perfect appetizer. But if you like to have an entree, and that's most of the times in my family, we made this with a tomato sauce. So as an entree, cooked into tomato sauce. So what happened is this, with that tomato sauce, we make pasta, Jamie. So we have our main course.
Amazing.
And then we eat the eggplant as an entree, accompanied with the salad.
That sounds
So
incredible.
very healthy, right?
It's sort of like a one-pot meal, right?
Exactly, and you must be hungry. Right? So how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm just waiting for my oil to heat up, and I'm going to start frying the tortilli.
I saw that you say oil.
Oh, sorry, my mistake.
It was
No,
lard.
we're using lard.
Yes, and I want to just to give a few words about lard. And I'm sure that we're going to get a lot of comment about that. Why you use lard when you talk about the Mediterranean diet, all the saturated fat? Well, lard has a huge, long traditions in the Calabrese cooking, baking, and frying. And I'm telling you one thing, that oil has a smoker point higher than olive oil because it's an animal fat.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that every time that you fry something, it will come perfectly cooked. It won't be soaked of oil. And also, he will not absorb oil because the temperature is very high. And when you put a product inside that lard,
yes,
okay, say oil, but lard, okay, he will coat it outside. It's like when you do the steak and you're gonna put the steak on a sear, right? Same thing. So the oil is very hot. You're gonna sear your product that you fry, and you're gonna see all the oil lard that you put in your pan will stay there until the end of your fry.
Yeah.
So if you want to try, please try.
All right. So I just want to jump back to Luciano and the dishes that he's been preparing. And we talked about how the melanzane are a vegetarian or almost even a vegan. But if you wanted to enhance the flavor, you could add a spoonful of nduja.
Oh, I have the nduja here,
yes,
nduja calico.
Right.
There you
Which
go.
Of course, we can pick up at Fortino's.
It is beautiful. It comes in
a jar, ready to use,
so you can put it up
right?
in your pantry. So it's very nice. You open up your jar, and it's actually, you give me the idea. You can do two things. You can add in your stuffing when you make your stuffing for the eggplant, or as I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna add to the tomato sauce to flavor the sauce, because nduja is actually a condiment, if you want to say that. Is a perfect condiment. Condiment used in our kitchen, and that spice up a little bit our product as well. There you go.
Adds a nice earthiness, a nice spiciness.
Yes.
Correct.
So you're frying.
So I'm frying up the tortilli here. And then
nice.
We can even just take a minute to talk about the crotonese too, which for whoever, if you weren't tuning in the last class, we talked about how it's a DOP product.
Yeah.
And
DOP
it's very
protection is a DOP, right?
DOP, and it's different from the pecorino toscano.
Mm-hmm.
It has an earthier flavor than the pecorino toscano, almost a fruitier flavor than the pecorino toscano. And again, that is available at Fortino's. So, look for it in the cheese section at Fortino's. And it's just a wonderful cheese.
All right. So what I have done here with the eggplant, I made a sauce with basil, a little bit of nduja with extra virgin olive oil. I add some fresh tomato sauce. Now I'm just adding the eggplant here in the tomato sauce. Okay, gonna put some tomato sauce on top.
And these guys, if you notice, they go really quick. So you just want to get them when they brown and then pull them out of the oil. Look at that beautiful golden color that we're getting on these tortilli.
So my eggplant now, they have two options, Jenny. This eggplant can cook in the oven. So if you want to put it in the oven, you can add the tomato sauce and finish in the oven for 20 minutes, or you just simmer on your stove for again 15, 20 minutes, and that's it. Doesn't have a really to cook because everything is cooked here. So that's why it doesn't need a long cooking time for this recipe.
Okay. So we just had a question. Someone's asking, where do you find lard? Actually, in the supermarket. Again, I picked it up at Fortino's today. Yes. In the baking aisle, where you would find shortening, the vegetable shortening, you'll find like lard right next to it.
Yes. And lard was a very common for the Calabrese because we have the king of the meat in Calabria, which is the pork. So, and nothing is straight out from a pig, because when we slaughter, we have a pork in our, we make a salami, pancetta, prosciutto, sausages, and then we preserve the skin, all the parts. We make a denduja, that the blood is also used as a thickener to make a dessert. So nothing for real from a pig is straight out. And so all the lard, the fat from the pig is going to be melted and put in jars. And my grandmother used to add in her pies, crostata, biscotti, and fry with.
Didn't they also make soap out of it?
See how dry it is? Look,
yes.
There is no oil in the plate.
That's right. Yeah, if you see, like, it's not hard to, I mean, it's probably a little bit difficult to tell right now. But yes, there's hardly, they're not greasy at all. Like, I don't even have to put a paper towel down to strain.
Now, I'm going to make the sauce for our pasta.
Wonderful.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to heat some oil. I have some garlic here ready. I'm going to fry the garlic. I'm going to add the anchovy. It's a very, very simple and super fast recipe that we're doing. So start frying the garlic. We add the anchovy.
It's a very aromatic dish as well, right?
I'm so hungry between this tortilla that's frying from here, the melanzane cooking up there, and this anchovies frying with the garlic. Oh my God, oh my God. So I hope that someone of the viewers are cooking with us, and you know, we're going to answer all the questions they have. Going back to the melanzana also, the real name of the melanzana comes also from mela, right? So in the medieval time, the suffix mela was added to all the good products, like melograno was the pomegranate, pomme de terre. So it's the word pomme, like the pomegranate. Do you need a?
Yeah, here, I'm just going to grab myself up. Thank you.
You want to put it maybe on the
back? I'm just going to excuse myself for a second to remove the hot oil.
First, so if you do at home, please use gloves. All right. So the word mela was added to everything that is beautiful. Pomodoro, pomegranate. So pomodoro was also the pomodoro.
Pomodoro.
The word pomo was added to the beautiful, round, perfect shaped product. That's why the melanzana, right? That's the thing. Okay. I'm going to add the capers and olives. I'm going to still frying. And I see you adding honey now.
Yes. So this is what actually makes this a sweet dessert.
But you can even eat this way. Like, so if you don't add honey, you have a good in it.
Oh, these are amazing just as it.
Just remember my grandfather now. Beautiful.
We're going to kick it up a notch though, and we're going to heat up some honey. And then we're going to give them a nice bath in honey. And again, that shape, the ridges are going to absorb all the honey. It's going to be beautiful. So we're just going to get this warmed up. In the meantime, I'm just going to give a quick check and see if we have any more questions from the viewers. We're good right now. So one of the other things I forgot to mention was we are calling them tortilli today.
See?
But in various towns within the region, you will find different names for them.
Different names. I have the village near mine. They call this ravioli.
Oh wow! See?
Which ravioli is something that for us is pasta, right?
Yes,
ravioli.
exactly.
Right. Don't make a fun because different people that have.
It's true. Everybody has like a bit of a pronunciation, right? Like even from one town to the next, even maybe a vowel will change or and it'll already.
So this sauce doesn't need too long to cook. If you see, and I don't like to cook too long the tomato because the tomato I like to feel the freshness of the raw tomatoes, right? When you open the jar, that was so sweet, especially the one that we make, every year in September.
Yeah.
It's delicious. I would just eat with a spoon.
So we have a question with regards to the recipe for the tortilli.
Yes.
Calls for pane degli angeli, which is a little leavening packet from Italy. You can use baking powder. You would just have to measure out like 16 grams because one packet of the pane degli angeli is 16 grams. So you would just have to measure out the equivalent in baking powder if you can't find the pane degli angeli.
Yeah. So you're heating up the honey to understand
Yes.
what you're doing, and then you're gonna toss this.
And then we're gonna put our tortilli in the pan, give them a nice toss.
And the tortilla absorb the honey.
That's right.
And they coat it with the honey.
That's
Wow.
And they're just a delicious sticky mess.
I can't believe it. Wow, this is a perfect for Christmas. Huh?
That's right.
And I heard that you're thinking to make some Christmas boxes and sell it out.
So yes, I was, because I do all this traditional baking anyhow, we were talking over the idea of putting together a Calabrese cookie Christmas box.
That was
So stay tuned for some more information on that. And of course, Luciano has graciously offered up the discount. So you can use that towards the purchase.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely. I would be very happy to share with that.
I'm just going to grab a fork to toss these guys.
Is there any other question that we can answer?
So we have, what is EVOO? Oh, extra virgin olive oil.
Yes.
Sorry.
Don't make fun of myself, because when I moved here, we call that, see, in Italy, we don't have other oils. When we say oil, for us is extra virgin olive oil.
Exactly.
So add the oil. And then I start seeing this EVO or EVOO that myself, when I moved here 9 years ago, I had to go and do some research to understand, what is this EVO? I don't understand. So I'm sorry that sometimes I'm a little bit.
So there we go. That is what the EVOO stands for.
Yeah.
So someone's asking for the ingredients for the dough. Okay, so basically very simple dough. It was flour, sugar, some baking powder or the pane degli angeli, egg, oil, and Marsala or Vermouth. And then you knead it all together either by hand or in your stand mixer. And then you let the dough rest for about an hour, form it into a ball, wrap it in plastic, let it rest. And then you're gonna cut it like you would gnocchi. And then we proceeded to fry it. And now we're giving it its final glorious coating in honey. Or if you were in Cosenza making this dish, they would use a fig honey, correct?
The fig honey, yes.
Because that's very popular in that region.
Well, because the fig honey, what is that? So the fig on the plant, I believe that everybody has a fig. So at the bottom of the fig, it has a drop.
Yes.
That drop is the honey. So that's the fig syrup. So they collect actually all this. So think about back in the days, how much patience to get all these figs collected.
Yes, what a task that would have been.
Oh my Lord, I know, but that was our entertainment back in the days. That they are entertainment.
So I don't know if you can see like just how glistening and beautiful this is right now, but just so lovely. And I just wanted to mention that these can be prepared ahead of time, and you can store the tortilli in an airtight container before you do the honey coating. So if you wanted to make like a big batch of these, you could make them ahead of time, store them after they're fried, and then you can pull out a few at a time and like toss them in the honey, and you can serve them nice and warm, like when you have guests, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Easy.
what a wonderful treat to like serve for your guests.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes. So la
And
mia
they also,
melanzana
yes.
è pronta.
Oh, fantastic.
It's delicious. And you know, when I was back home, I used to run every year a festival of the melanzana. And I used to cook for 2,500 people. So my little village, which is 600 people living there. So in one night, we got a pack with the 2,500 people in the square.
Wow.
right? And it was like 1 week of preparation with a team of 31 people, but it was fantastic experience to celebrate the melanzana because one of the staple products, with the cipolla di Tropea, all the vegetables that we have in Calabria. So the melanzana is a very
and that's one thing I love about being in Italy is the sagre, these festivals that they have for all these different foods,
for free.
Right?
So that's the thing, right? So I'd rather pay. I wouldn't want to say anything. But when you go in Italy and during the summer, every day you go town to town, you get free food. It's unbelievable. So I believe the tourists, they should just book their hotel and go every night to a different town, right?
And just enjoy a different sagra every day.
So my pasta is ready too. So I'm gonna get it plated.
Should you? The ingredients sound very heavy. You know what? It is a rich dessert, but it's the holidays. We're celebrating. We don't really, the holiday calories don't really count, right?
There you go. So that is a stroncatura cooked.
That is beautiful. Look at that color.
Look at the color. And it's so rich of fibers. This pasta is perfect for any type of diet, any type of, if you even diabetes. So this has a very low sugar because it has a lot of fibers.
There we go.
Okay.
So there you go. Just make this nice pile of these beautiful fried gnocchi. And then you just enjoy these either with a nice espresso or a nice liquorino, maybe an amaro. There's some wonderful amaro that comes from Calabria. Yes. Correct? So I'm just gonna keep asking, looking at some of our questions. So this brings back so many memories. I know. In fact, what Luciano prepared, the stuffed eggplant, to me feels very much like home because every single time I go to Italy, my nonna has a big plate of melanzanichini waiting for us.
But you get emotional. Food has to get emotions. Food is a bit like music, like a cologne. Absolutely. When you smell, when you listen to music, same with food. When you eat that food, it's what it's about. And there you go. Formaggio dei poveri.
Love that.
Okay. And we have stroncatura with salsa di acciughe, capperi e olive and melanzane piene.
What an incredible dish.
Thank you, Jenny, for joining me with your tortilli. Their dish is amazing. Thank you.
So we have a few more questions. I just want to make sure that we get to them. Yeah. So when you're coating the cookies in honey, do you turn off the heat? I kept it on low heat. You just toss them in there and then you can turn it off. Should you store the tortilli in the fridge? There's no need to store them in the refrigerator. You can put them in an airtight container and keep them in in a cool, dry place. Like I would keep them, if you have a cantina in the basement, that's a good place for them.
I can share with you if you want.
Okay. Oh, we have to try this.
Well, I'm keeping smelling. That's delicious.
Do you think I can substitute gluten-free flour for the dessert? Luciano, have you ever made them gluten-free?
I do, but it's not that easy. Oh my God, that's so delicious. It's not easy to find a good, they will come very heavy. They will come very heavy. If you send an email separately, I can give you a few tricks or everybody who needs that, but they have a few tweaks that we need to do it for the gluten-free one.
Right. So then we have another question saying that tuna is mentioned in the title of the recipe, but it's not in the recipe.
Exactly, because it's an option. So this is the authentic pasta con la sarda. This is really something that if you go in Calabria, in one of the Pizzo Calabro, Tropea, all the beaches, towns, they're going to cook pasta con la sarda this way. Then, of course, if you go to Pizzo, there is a Callipo, that's the capital of the tuna. They will probably add also the tunas. You can substitute the anchovies and sardines with tuna. So it's very, very versatile.
That's right. And again, you can pick up the tonno callipo
This is
Fortinos, of course. And let me see, do we have any other questions? I'm just scrolling down here. We've got a lot of messages, a lot of people commenting about how, you know, this is very nostalgic this evening. And Luciano, so someone was asking about the olives. Do you have a preference for black olives? Would you use green olives? Does it matter?
I'd rather have a black olives.
Okay. And basic canned black olives. No, we would go more with something more flavorful, right?
No,
like a Kalamata.
if you really want to go with a Kalamata, you really, even in Calabria, we have the Ottombrarica. It is a very tiny, tiny olives. But when I was a kid to go and help my grandparents, not too old, well, I could pick olives until 9 years ago, so every year. But they always bring me to the trees where they have these little small olives. It was very a nightmare to pick out the little olives, but that's delicious olives. The Ottombrarica, it's really good.
So if you're in Italy, make sure you try it with those.
Exactly.
Maple sugar. No, we didn't mention maple sugar.
No, we haven't mentioned any maple sugar.
Yeah.
The only thing that I say on Canada Day, if you want to be a Calabrese.
Calabrese? I love
it. Canadian Calabrese, so you can exchange the honey with the maple syrup.
That would be phenomenal.
And I will give you my blessing, don't worry. That would be really good. And you know, on Christmas, they also can use confetti, right?
That's
they can sprinkle some of the confetti on top to give some of the color. Can I have one? Like I gave you some pasta, so can I have one too, Lily?
There we go. Yes, I'm sorry, Luciano. My apologies there.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm craving one. Well, I really enjoyed this time with you, Jenny. I really thank the Camera di Commercio for the opportunity.
This is wonderful. Yes, it's such a joy for me to be able to share our passion for our Calabrese heritage and kitchen so much.
I love it. It's something that really, and that's why we created the Heritage Calabria Association, because we want to keep this identity, this food alive, to pass this tradition to the new generation, and also to raise awareness and let people discover more about Calabria. So Calabria is a beautiful land. There is actually this year a movie, because the Heritage Calabria is created this lunch takeout for 2048, but included in the lunch, there is a membership for the Italian Contemporary Film Festival.
Yes, and the film that will be screening on the 29th.
Exactly. And the movie on the 29th is a movie about Calabria. So we were talking with ICFF. It is a Dias Promonte, the land of the forgotten land. And it is a little town from Africa. Africa is a really little town in the provincia di Reggio Calabria. It's becoming a ghost, actually, town. And there's this beautiful thing in Calabria that is the beach, so the town on the beach, and the town uptown, right? So chi sta in paese, uptown, is a little bit detached from the rest of the world. And a bridge collapsed, and they were not connected anymore with the rest of the land.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
So they need a doctor. And nobody was helping them. That's why they create a protest. And the Calabrese, they built all together, the Paisanos, a bridge.
Oh, wow.
That's the power of the Calabrese. They are hard worker, they're humble, and they are they are stubborn. I know, but the food is delicious.
But in a good way.
Right. And they make a good wine, right?
Absolutely.
They have a good wine, and we have the Ciro. I want to take the opportunity to talk about the Ciro Tenuta Juzzolino. You can even send a message to Camera di Commercio to have more information about this beautiful wine. Ciro is the land of the wines in Calabria. So when you go in Calabria, say, what che vino bevi? What wine would you like to drink? Is a Ciro. Yeah. No, either white or red, but Calabria has amazing wines now from Reggio Calabria to the north of Cosenza, but Ciro still is the capital of our wines. Eh?
And I guess, Luciano, that wine is gonna go great with the dishes that you prepared, right?
Oh, Tiziana, I wish you were here with us. Thank you.
Yes, I wish I could be there. Well, thank you so much. This was a great dinner. You feature 3 great dishes. And, you know, thank you, Jenny, for this class in 2 weeks for the last class of this Calabria Tutti a Tavola series. Thank you very much for all the people that followed us tonight. And obviously, thank you to the ICCO Canada staff, starting from Astrid and Isabella, Richard, Mary, Ilaria, and Marisa. And I'd like just to say thank you and see you again on behalf of our board of director and our executive director, Corrado Paina. So thank you very much and see you next Tuesday at the Tutti a Tavola with Prosciutto di Parma. Buon appetito and have a great evening. Thank you.